Allahu, 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 Allah.
Assalamu alaikum. In our journey so far, we discovered something extraordinary. The Quran described the separation of a joined universe, resonating with the Big Bang, 1,400 years before science discovered it. It explained that time is relative, centuries before Einstein proved it. It revealed that both darkness and light are divine creations, each fashioned with purpose and precision. But today, we're going to explore something that will truly change how you see the world around you. Look up. What do you see? The sky, right? But what exactly is the sky? Is it the blue color above us? Is it the clouds? Is it the atmosphere? Or is it something far more vast, far more mysterious than we ever imagined? Before we finish today's episode, you're going to understand something that most people never realize in their entire lives. You're going to understand what the Quran means when it says Samaa, the sky. And you're going to discover that the universe has an architecture that science is only beginning to glimpse. Are you ready? Because what you're about to learn will make you look at the sky differently forever. Let me start with a simple question I've pondered. If you ask people, what is the sky? What would they say? Some might say it's the blue thing we see above us. Others might think it's some kind of invisible dome far above. Some think the clouds are the sky. Others might say it's just an optical effect created by our atmosphere. These are all partial truths, but none of them capture what the sky truly is. And honestly, before I studied the Quran's description of the sky, I couldn't have given you a complete answer either. So let's start with what science tells us, and then we'll see what the Quran reveals. Science tells us that the blue color we see is caused by our atmosphere. When sunlight enters Earth's atmosphere, it contains all the colors of the spectrum. Blue light has a shorter wavelength than most other visible colors, and it scatters more effectively through the gases in our atmosphere. Combined with the fact that our eyes are particularly sensitive to blue wavelengths, this is why the sky appears blue to us during the day. And in the evening, when the sun is closer to the horizon, we see more reds and oranges. Why? Because the sunlight has to travel through much more atmosphere to reach us, and this longer journey scatters away most of the blue light, allowing the warmer colors to dominate. But the atmosphere is not just one layer. It's multiple layers, each with its own characteristics and purpose. The first layer, closest to us, is called the troposphere. It extends about 10 kilometers or 6 miles above Earth's surface. Almost all weather happens here. All clouds, all rain, all storms. This is where all life exists, where we breathe, where birds fly. Above that, there's the stratosphere, reaching up to 50 kilometers high. This is where the ozone layer protects us from harmful solar radiation, acting like a shield that filters out dangerous ultraviolet rays that would otherwise make life on Earth's surface impossible. Commercial airplanes fly in the lower regions of this layer to avoid weather turbulence. Above that, the mesosphere extends to about 85 kilometers. The temperature here can drop to minus 90 degrees Celsius, colder than anywhere on Earth's surface. There's almost no oxygen. When space rocks called meteoroids enter this layer, they burn up from the friction with the thin air, creating the bright streaks we call meteors, or shooting stars. Above that is the thermosphere, extending about 600 kilometers up. Despite its name suggesting heat, the air here is so thin that conventional temperature measurements don't apply in the way we're used to. This is where most satellites orbit Earth. This is also where one of nature's most beautiful phenomena occurs, the aurora lights. Those magical green and red curtains of light dancing across the polar skies, created when charged particles from the sun interact with Earth's magnetic field. And then, at about 100 kilometers altitude, scientists have defined an arbitrary boundary called the Kármán line. This is considered the edge of space by international agreement, though it's important to understand this is a human convention, not a natural boundary. Beyond this line, Earth's atmosphere becomes so thin that conventional aircraft can't generate enough lift to fly anymore. Beyond the Kármán line begins what we typically call space, the vast cosmic ocean. Trillions upon trillions of kilometers of near emptiness, stretching so far that light from the most distant galaxies we've detected takes nearly 14 billion years to reach us. But here's the profound question that science cannot fully answer. Where is the sky in all of this? Is the sky the troposphere where rain falls? The stratosphere where we're protected? The mesosphere where meteors burn? All of these layers combined? The space beyond where stars shine? For that answer, we need to turn to the Quran. The Quran mentions the sky, Samaa in Arabic, over 300 times in various forms. But it doesn't describe it as just one simple thing. It describes it with multiple characteristics, each giving us a clue about different aspects of what the sky truly encompasses. Here's what's fascinating about the Arabic word Samaa. It's used in different contexts throughout the Quran, revealing different dimensions of the reality above us. Let me share these insights with you, one by one, and watch as a comprehensive picture begins to form. The Quran mentions numerous times that water descends from the sky. Surah An-Nahl, verse 65, "And Allah has sent down rain from the sky and given life thereby to the earth after its lifelessness." Now, we know that rain clouds form only about 2 to 10 kilometers high, well within our lower atmosphere, in the troposphere. So in this context, sky clearly refers to the atmospheric realm directly above us, the visible ceiling from which rain falls. This is the sky we interact with daily, the immediate canopy above our heads. But then the Quran gives us another dimension. It describes the sky as a protected roof or a preserved ceiling. Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 32. "And we made the sky a protected ceiling, but they, from its signs, are turning away." Surah At-Tur, verse 5. "And by the heaven that is protected." A protected roof, a ceiling that shields. Modern science has revealed something remarkable about this. Our atmosphere, particularly the ozone layer in the stratosphere, shields us from deadly solar radiation. Earth's magnetic field, extending far into space, protects us from harmful cosmic rays and solar wind that would otherwise strip away our atmosphere. Without these protective layers, life as we know it couldn't exist. We'd be bombarded with radiation that would destroy DNA, evaporate our oceans, and turn Earth into a barren wasteland like Mars. The sky isn't just empty space above us. It's a carefully designed protective system, a ceiling that has been made secure. The Quran speaks about the sky in another fascinating way. Surah At-Tariq, verses 11 and 12. "By the sky which returns, and the earth which cracks open." The sky which returns. What does this mean? Scientists who study Earth's climate and atmospheric cycles have discovered something profound. Our atmosphere doesn't just hold things, it constantly cycles them. It returns what it receives. Water evaporates from the oceans, rises into the atmosphere, condenses into clouds, and returns as rain. Heat radiates from Earth's surface, reflects off certain atmospheric layers, and returns to warm us. Radio waves bounce off the ionosphere and return to Earth, making long-distance communication possible. The atmosphere returns, over and over again, a cycle of giving and receiving, rising and descending, maintaining the delicate balance that makes life possible. Subhanallah, glory be to Allah. Now here's where our understanding begins to expand dramatically. The Quran tells us that the sun, the moon, and the stars are all in the sky. Surah Fussilat, verse 12. And He completed them as 7 heavens within 2 days, and inspired in each heaven its command. And we adorned the nearest heaven with lamps and as protection. The nearest heaven decorated with lamps. What are these lamps? Surah An-Mulk, verse 5. And we have certainly beautified the nearest heaven with stars. The stars. Think about what this means. Stars aren't in our atmosphere. The nearest star to us after our sun is Proxima Centauri, about 4.2 light years away. That's roughly 40 trillion kilometers. Our sun is a star sitting about 150 million kilometers from Earth. The moon orbits at about 384,000 kilometers. Even the most distant planets in our solar system are billions of kilometers away. If the Quran places stars, the sun, and the moon within the sky, specifically within the nearest heaven, then clearly the sky extends far, far beyond just our atmosphere. So what have we learned? Let me paint you a picture that brings all these clues together. The Arabic word Samaa is comprehensive. It's used in different contexts throughout the Quran to describe different aspects of the reality above us. Sometimes it clearly refers to the atmospheric sky, the visible realm from which rain falls, where clouds drift, where birds fly. The immediate canopy we see when we look up during the day. Sometimes it refers to the celestial realm, the vast cosmic space where the sun, moon, and stars exist, the observable universe that extends billions of light years in every direction. And sometimes it refers to spiritual dimensions, realms beyond physical perception, where angels dwell and divine commands flow. Is this inconsistency? No, it's comprehensive. The word Samaa encompasses everything above us: the immediate atmosphere we breathe, the cosmic expanse we observe through telescopes, and the metaphysical realities we can only know through revelation. One way to understand the Quran's teaching is this: the sky begins right above our heads and extends outward in layers. Physical layers we can measure, and spiritual layers we can only believe in. Each layer is part of the vast creation Allah has fashioned above the earth. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're standing on Earth. Above you, the sky begins. Not 10 kilometers up, not 100 kilometers up, but right above you, right now. This sky extends upward through the troposphere, where rain falls and weather swirls. It continues through the stratosphere, where the ozone layer shields us. It expands through the mesosphere, where meteors burn up in brilliant streaks. It reaches through the thermosphere, where satellites orbit and auroras glow. And then it continues, far, far beyond the Kármán line, beyond where our atmosphere fades into the vacuum of space. The Quran confirms this expansion in Surah Al-Ghashiyah, verse 18. And at the sky, how it is raised. And in Surah Al-Dhariyat, verse 47. And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed we are its expander. The sky is not static, it's being raised, it's being expanded. And we know from Edwin Hubble's 1929 discovery that yes, the universe is expanding. Space itself is stretching, carrying galaxies with it. This vast expanse, from the clouds above your head to the most distant galaxy 13 billion light-years away, all of this constitutes what the Quran calls the nearest heaven, the first sky, the lowest level of creation's vertical architecture. And it's decorated, adorned with lamps, the stars, for us to look at and wonder about. But here's a profound question. If the sky extends so far into the cosmos, does it have an end? Does this expansion have a boundary? The Quran addresses this in Surah Ar-Rahman, verses 33 through 35. O company of jinn and mankind, if you are able to pass beyond the regions of the heavens and the earth, then pass. You will not pass except by authority. There will be sent upon you a flame of fire and smoke, and you will not defend yourselves. This is a powerful and multi-layered verse. Classical scholars, including Ibn Kathir and others, understood this primarily as describing the Day of Judgment, that no one can escape Allah's judgment, no matter where they flee. The flames and smoke represent divine punishment from which there is no escape.
Some contemporary scholars also reflect on this verse in light of space exploration, noting the phrase regions, aqtar, of the heavens and earth, and considering whether there are boundaries to the observable universe that we cannot cross without divine permission. Whether understood as spiritual judgment, cosmic limits, or both layers of meaning, the message is profound. There are boundaries to creation that we cannot cross on our own authority. And consider this, with all our technology, how far have we actually gone? The farthest humans have traveled is to the moon, about 384,000 kilometers away. That's less than 1 light second from Earth. The farthest probe we've sent, Voyager 1, is now over 24 billion kilometers away, so distant that its radio signals take over 22 hours to reach us. That sounds impressive, but our galaxy, the Milky Way, is 100,000 light-years across. That's about 946 trillion kilometers just across our own galaxy. And astronomers estimate there are 2 trillion other galaxies beyond ours in the observable universe. We've barely left our cosmic doorstep. We haven't even begun to approach whatever outer boundaries of creation the Quran speaks of. In Surah An-Nahl, verse 28, we read about the sky's structure. He raised its ceiling and proportioned it. There is a ceiling, an outer structure, a highest point to the created realm, fashioned and proportioned by the Creator. What lies beyond that? Only Allah knows. And now we come to one of the most profound and mysterious concepts in the Quran, the 7 heavens. The Quran mentions this in multiple verses. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 29. It is He who created for you all of that which is on the earth. Then He directed Himself to the heaven and made them 7 heavens, and He is knowing of all things. Surah At-Talaq, verse 12. Allah is He who created 7 heavens and of the earth the like of them. 7 heavens. But here's an honest truth. Scholars have discussed and debated for 1,400 years what exactly these 7 heavens are. Some classical scholars understood them as literal physical layers above the earth, each one containing different celestial bodies, an understanding that made sense within the astronomical knowledge of their time. Others saw them as spiritual realms, dimensions of existence where angels dwell, where divine commands originate, where realities beyond our perception exist. Some interpreted the number 7 symbolically,
as the Quran often uses 7 to represent completeness, perfection, and divine order. Still others viewed them as levels of consciousness, stages of spiritual ascension, or simply realities beyond human comprehension that we're not meant to fully understand in this life. The great scholar Ibn Kathir, in his tafsir, mentioned various scholarly opinions on the 7 heavens, without insisting on one definitive physical answer. The spiritual scholar Al-Ghazali explored them as stations of the soul's journey to Allah. Contemporary scholars continue to reflect on their meaning in light of modern cosmology, while acknowledging the limits of what we can know. So what can we say with certainty? First, there are levels of creation beyond what we perceive. The Quran makes this abundantly clear. Reality has depth and layers, both physical and metaphysical, that extend beyond our immediate observation. Second, the nearest heaven, which contains the stars we can see, is just the first level. Allah explicitly says He adorned the nearest heaven with lamps, the stars that decorate our night sky. Everything we can observe through even our most powerful telescopes is still within this first heaven. Third, beyond the observable universe lie realities we cannot access in this earthly life. Whether these are additional physical dimensions, spiritual realms, or both, only Allah knows fully. And perhaps that's exactly the point. Fourth, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was blessed with the miraculous journey of Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, the night journey and ascension, where he traveled through all 7 heavens. When his companions asked him to describe what he saw, the best he could convey was that Allah has prepared blessings in those realms, which no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has conceived. This should fill us with profound humility. We can explore the observable universe. We can measure distant galaxies. We can calculate the cosmic microwave background radiation. We can send probes into the depths of space. But we're still within the nearest heaven, the first level of a 7-tiered creation that extends far beyond our reach, far beyond our instruments, far beyond our comprehension. The exact nature of these 7 heavens, the precise structure of these layers, what exists in each one, that remains among the knowledge that Allah has kept to Himself. And perhaps that's the wisdom in it, to remind us that no matter how much we discover, there's always more, there's always mystery, there's always wonder, there's always something beyond our grasp that calls us to humility and awe. The Quran uses another profound expression when speaking about the sky. Surah Al-Mulk, verse 3, "Who created 7 heavens in layers? You do not see in the creation of the Most Merciful any inconsistency. So return your vision to the sky. Do you see any breaks? Look at the sky. Examine it. Search for flaws, for inconsistencies, for anything out of place. You won't find any. The more we study the universe, the more we discover its incredible fine-tuning, the exact strength of gravity, the precise mass of the electron, the specific rate of cosmic expansion. Change any of these values by even a fraction of a percent, and the universe as we know it couldn't exist. Scientists call this the fine-tuning problem, but the Quran presented it 1,400 years ago as evidence of intentional design. You do not see in the creation of the Most Merciful any inconsistency. The verse continues, "Then return your vision twice again. Your vision will return to you humbled while it is fatigued." The more you look, the more you study, the more your vision returns to you humbled, overwhelmed by the vastness, awed by the precision, humbled by how little we truly know. The Quran also speaks of spiritual realities within the heavens that we cannot physically perceive. In Surah Al-Hijr, verse 14, Allah describes gates opening in the heavens. And even if we open to them a gate from the heaven, and they continued therein to ascend. These aren't necessarily physical doorways in space that we could locate with telescopes. They represent dimensions of existence we cannot access, spiritual portals through which angels ascend and descend, carrying divine commands between the realms. The Quran even uses profound metaphorical language about the sky and earth. In Surah Ad-Dukhan, verse 29, speaking about Pharaoh and his armies, Allah says, "And the heaven and earth wept not for them, nor were they reprieved." Classical scholars explain this beautifully. These tyrants were so insignificant, so devoid of good, that even the universe itself didn't mourn them. It's a powerful image. When the righteous die, their loss is felt throughout creation. But when the wicked perish, even the sky and earth remain unmoved. Whether understood literally or metaphorically, the message is profound. Creation is not dead, lifeless matter. It's Allah's handiwork, fashioned with purpose, responding to divine command, bearing witness to human actions in ways we cannot fully grasp. Do you understand now why I said this episode would change how you see the sky? The next time you look up during the day and see that beautiful blue color, remember, that's not the sky in its entirety. That's just light scattering through the first few kilometers of an incomprehensibly vast creation. The next time you see clouds drifting by, remember, those clouds are floating in the lower regions of a sky that extends billions of light years beyond them, and then continues into spiritual dimensions beyond even that. The next time you see stars twinkling at night, remember, those are decorations placed in the nearest heaven, the first level of creation. They're lamps lighting up the cosmic architecture, inviting you to wonder about what lies beyond. The next time you feel small and insignificant under the night sky, remember, the same God who created this vast, incomprehensible sky, with its multiple layers, its precise fine-tuning, its protective systems, its spiritual dimensions, knows you by name. He's closer to you than your jugular vein. He knows what your soul whispers. The same Creator who fashioned the structure of 7 heavens hears your prayers. The same one who set boundaries on the cosmos cares about the struggles in your heart. Subhanallah. Before we end today, let's reflect on what all of this means for us. The Quran doesn't just tell us stories about the past. It reveals the architecture of reality, the structure of existence itself. It shows us that the universe is not random matter floating in emptiness. It's designed, it's layered, it has boundaries, it has purpose. It has both physical and spiritual dimensions. Science has given us incredible tools to explore the nearest heaven, this first sky we can observe. We've mapped galaxies, measured cosmic radiation, calculated the expansion rate of space, and every discovery points to intentional design. But science has also reached its limits. It cannot tell us what lies beyond the observable universe. It cannot explain the nature of the spiritual heavens. It cannot access the realms that the Quran describes beyond the boundaries of our perception. That's not a failure of science. That's simply its nature. Science can only study what it can observe and measure. But the Quran comes from the one who created all 7 heavens, the one who set their boundaries, the one who knows what exists in each level, the one who adorned the nearest heaven with stars for us to wonder at. And he's telling us, look, reflect, see the signs, understand that there's so much more than what your eyes can see. What does this teach us? Humility. No matter how much we discover, we've barely scratched the surface. We're living in the first heaven, gazing at the decorations, mapping the stars, thinking we're beginning to understand the universe. But we haven't even glimpsed the greater reality that lies beyond. We haven't crossed the first boundary. We haven't opened the first gate. Wonder. If this first heaven, this observable universe we can study, is so vast, so beautiful, so precisely designed, imagine what the other levels contain. Imagine what Allah has prepared beyond our perception. Hope. The same Creator who fashioned this incomprehensible cosmic architecture cares about you personally. Your struggles matter. Your prayers are heard. Your life has meaning in this vast creation. And it teaches us gratitude. We live under a protected ceiling. We breathe air that cycles and returns. We're shielded from radiation that would kill us. We're held by gravity in just the right amount. We're warmed by a star at just the right distance. We're not here by accident. We're not a cosmic coincidence. We're here by divine design, living in a carefully crafted universe, invited to reflect on its wonders and recognize the Creator behind it all. In our next episode, the final part of this creation series, we're going to go even deeper into the profound wisdom that scholars have extracted from these verses about the heavens. We're going to explore what classical and contemporary scholars have said about the structure of creation. We're going to examine the hadiths that describe the Prophet's journey through the seven heavens. We're going to understand what the Quran reveals about the throne of Allah and what surrounds it. We're going to piece together the full picture, from the moment before creation began, through the Big Bang, through the formation of galaxies and stars, through the protective layers around Earth, all the way to the highest levels of existence. We're going to complete our journey from before time began to the ultimate reality. If today's episode made you see the sky differently, share it with someone who still thinks the sky is just blue air. And subscribe to Cosmic Hilm, because the final part of this journey will be unlike anything you've heard before. If you want to explore the scientific concepts we discussed, the layers of atmosphere, the structure of space, the expansion of the universe, I've put links to NASA resources, educational videos, and Islamic scholarship in the description below. And as always, whether you press the thumbs up or thumbs down button, I want to hear what you think. Your feedback helps this message reach the people who need it. Until next time, look up at the sky and remember, what you're seeing is just the beginning. There are 7 levels of heaven, and you're standing at the doorstep of the first one. The nearest heaven, vast as it is, with its hundreds of billions of galaxies, its trillions of stars, its incomprehensible distances, is just the first layer. And beyond it lie wonders that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has conceived. Assalamu alaikum.